guys, what's up? This is Gilly Sniper 300 and got Doc 6mm here with me, running the camera for now. And we've got some Extreme Shock Air Freedom 45 rounds that we're going to test out first. We got some other stuff we'll do here in a minute, but these are some pretty light bullets for a 45. It's 125 grain. They're claiming it's doing about 1350 out of the muzzle and getting about 505 foot-pounds of energy at the muzzle. We're gonna what we're gonna do is we're gonna test this through an H&K USP 45. Not sweepy with that. And our first scenario we're doing is we've got a target, a skinny target, sitting about what, a yard from the wall.
Yep.
And that's a standard drywall, no insulation in the middle or anything like that, but just standard drywall. And we've got some targets behind it that we're going to kind of see the collateral damage, if there is any, of. We're shooting about 7 or 8 yards from the target, and I really don't suspect that we're going to have any penetration through the wall with these Air Freedom rounds. That's my hypothesis anyway, so we'll see what happens. Holy smokes!
Velocity 1390 feet per second.
There's the ball.
There's your ball.
Got the ball laying on the ground. Oh, I probably shouldn't have done it that way. You can see some of that powder, that tungsten powder down there in the bottom of that jug in the jacket. And it obliterated our jug.
That's our entry side.
Yeah, and some pressure knocked out the back, maybe, but don't see any shrapnel at all in our wall here. That might be a little piece of denim.
Yeah, I think that is denim.
And there's some tungsten, but it didn't penetrate the wall. It just hit it. There's some more tungsten. I kind of messed it up, but.
Yep.
So our little childrens are
okay.
They're okay. Okay, our second test with this 45 Air Freedom round is going to be a miss scenario where we miss our target, and there may or may not be something that we don't want to hit behind the wall. So will this go through the wall? Will it penetrate the wall with enough left on it to hurt something behind the wall? That's pretty cute.
Whoa. I don't see any water coming out yet. Velocity 1397.
And let's do a 4.41 inch barrel as well. I was a little off. That's odd. So we might have to shoot that one again. It caught the 2x4.
Caught some of the 2x4.
I pulled it a little bit left. And it deflected. There's actually a little leak, little bitty leak, right there. And it did a number on that.
Yeah, it did.
Maybe I could spin it around like this.
Yeah, there you go.
Shoot right here.
Yep. I think that'd be fair.
Okay. If I hit it, there's jacket from that.
And that's probably what caused your injury.
Probably so.
To your jug, which is very mild.
It's going to be lacerations.
Not lethal,
and,
I would say, at all.
Not go very deep.
All right, second try with the 45 Air Freedom round.
Ready?
Shoot her up. I think he got some.
Yep.
But I think our wall may have lost some integrity as well.
Yeah, I caught it a little lower than I intended, but you know what though? That accomplishes the task of telling bare minimum. I mean, there's no wall that's going to be only 2 sheets of drywall. So, well, I don't know.
Let's take a look. 1402. Go ahead.
All right, this, I think we did lose a little integrity here, but this is the back of our entry wound. It was probably a little broken up, but not much.
Yeah.
Not too much, and then that's a pretty...
You can tell the bullet's starting to fragment at this point pretty well. You can see the tears, basically,
yeah,
what the jacket's doing coming apart.
That's a pretty nasty entry wound.
It is a pretty nasty entry wound.
Some tungsten powder in there. A little bit. I don't know if you can see that. Along with some drywall. I'm still not too, I don't know. There's our ball on that one. Because chances are...
I mean, I think obviously this is a worst case scenario.
If you've got no insulation in your walls and somebody's standing right next to the wall and you are shooting directly at them. But I'm not for sure. I'm not too afraid of it still. I still think it's decent for its intended purpose.
Yep.
And it's still going to dump a lot of energy in your target when you hit the target really quickly. The only thing is there's not going to be a lot of penetration in your target, but I think there's enough energy there that shouldn't be too big of an issue.
Yeah. Size comparison of this exit hole. It's a pretty big hole.
Yeah, that's a pretty substantial hole. It's coming apart pretty rapidly.
So, you know, our front board wasn't securely fastened because it had been broken prior shot. You know, I think so. That's definitely a worst case scenario.
I agree.
And you know, I'm kind of curious to know how far that would have still been lethal. Obviously, if you're against the wall, I think it could be. But when we look at this jug, I'm not seeing a whole lot as far as exit goes on it.
I think a lot of the energy was probably soaked up. Even though it did do a lot of damage on the entry there, I don't really know how much that would do internally.
Well, I think it would do enough, but I think that's worst case scenario.
Yeah, it'd be a serious situation for sure, but I don't know if it's going to penetrate the body very much on the other side of that wall. I don't know. It's definitely interesting.
This is 45 ACP 230 grain ball, H&K USP.
Wow.
It looks dusty.
842.
842 on the muzzle velocity. Yep.
It's a little high, but wow.
Oh my goodness. So what are we talking here? One skinny person, one wall, maybe two walls. Maybe
barely caught those.
Three. Barely caught it.
That one.
Definitely.
Exit.
Entry.
And an exit.
And an exit. Yeah.
Going
you better not be coming into Gilly Sniper's house and hiding behind four walls.
And that's kind of why I'm interested in those Air Freedoms, just because sometimes I don't want much penetration in my house. 45 Air Freedom round. We had some pretty good luck with that, and it did what it was supposed to do. It had really good velocity, and out of this is a 4.41 inch barreled H&K USP, and we got really good velocity out of that. What they're claiming is 1350, and we actually had an average on 3 shots of 1396. It expanded violently in target, and it did not penetrate very deeply. So I still think that in an application in your house, or what the bullet was designed for on an aircraft, is really not a bad application, and you might even be able to carry these in an everyday carry. And my thoughts are, in an everyday carry, with this kind of a deal,
you might want over penetration, depending on where you are. I don't know. I mean, and that's really a tough call, because you may be in a crowded area where you don't want over penetration, but at the same time you don't want tungsten powder coming apart, or a frangible bullet hitting someone you didn't intend to hit. And that's the problem. So, you know, maybe if you're really confident in your own shooting ability, perhaps the Air Freedom round wouldn't be a bad everyday carry round, if you know you're going to hit your target every time. I personally, I've never been in a high stress situation like that, so I don't know. I just don't know that I could carry this every day. But it's not that it's not a valid round. You know, we did the 9mm Air Freedom round, and we were thinking of it in terms of just an everyday carry bullet. And you know, Doc and I both said, he in the video and me in the comments, that we didn't think we would carry it. And at the time I didn't really think about the possibility of having it for a home defense round. And now I'm really thinking about that, especially in this 45, because as you saw on our full metal jackets, it's a 230 grain bullet. In the one that we shot and chronographed, I've chronographed them before, and I always get about 850. It got 842 feet per second, and it punched through a lot. It went through, you know, I think 2 jugs and 8 sheets of drywall and kept going, and that's the kind of performance I usually get out of those. Just so you know, so nobody has to do the math, the energy, the average energy on the 3 Air Freedom rounds was 541.22 foot-pounds, and the energy on that 230 grain ball was 362.28. So I really like it. I mean, you're pushing the energy way up there. Yeah, it's a light bullet, but it's going as fast or faster in this gun than what they claimed, and thus it's getting higher energy, and it's got a lot more energy to dump than the 230 grain ball, and it's still a 45. So you're not really sacrificing that, the fact that it's a big bullet, and from what we've seen, it's expanding reliably, which is something that we have trouble with in 45s. So it seems. I'm going to test at some point. I'm going to try to pick up some PDX-1 in the 45. That's something we haven't shot, and that's one that I'd like to see, and maybe some other things, just to see if those can expand reliably as well. Again, I like it. I do believe I'm going to start using it here for home defense, and I think it's something to look into, just for the fact that it brings the energy and the expansion of the 45. It brings those capabilities up dramatically, and I like that. So that's it for the Air Freedom 45.